not been live this whole time? No! I'm gonna have to do all that again. I'll never be able to do that again. It's all right.
Hi everyone, sorry for being late. I just forgot to press a button. Sorry. We were doing so well as well. Okay, so hi everyone. This is Wolf, as in Wolf the Red. Wolf, would you like to explain to us who you are, when you are, what you are, that kind of thing?
Sure. I'm Wolf the Red. You can find me on Twitter at Wolf the Red. That's where I spend most of my free time. You may know me because I went viral about a few days ago. But I'm a Norse polytheist. I've got my own YouTube channel, which I believe is linked somewhere around there. But I stumbled into the atheist community not too long ago and have found quite a few many friends. One of them, the lovely Navardia here. And we have had a pretty cool friendship these last few months, but there's been one thing that's been really bothering me about our friendship, and we decided the best way to really hash that out is to do a live stream about it.
Yeah.
And the main thing that bothers me is she claims that Australia exists, and that's completely illogical. And I just feel like we needed to address it and put it all out in the air there.
Yeah, well, I strangely think that my country exists. But so I'm here to defend Australia. Australia.
What a weird accent that you would just make up
as if
for this fake country.
Excuse me. This is
You're
definitely
excused.
real. This is a definitely real accent. So yeah, we've been sort of arguing over the fact that we have this thing. And so, why do you think that Australia doesn't exist, mate?
Well, I mean, it's pretty simple. The Earth is flat, and Australia couldn't fit on the flat Earth map. It's been proven many times that everybody's either lying about it or has been tricked or fooled. I don't want to accuse you of being a liar. You're a great person, and you've always been really honest with me. But I do believe that you've been deceived, and unfortunately, you are part of this grand scheme, this grand deception that has been going on for way too long.
Okay. Well, I would disagree with you on that one. Yeah, because, I've travelled around Australia. I've seen Australia. I am, of course, Australian myself. So, I think I've got science on my side this one.
I mean, I guess, but anybody could, I could walk outside and claim that I'm in Africa if I wanted to. Like, oh, look, I'm in Africa. See, I've got land. I'm from Africa. There's no way to really tell. And so with the fact that Australia doesn't exist, I'm pretty sure you're just on some really big island somewhere, but it's definitely nowhere as big as this giant empty country that people claim is out there in the middle of nowhere.
Well, I've been to Perth, which is like on the opposite side of the country. And that took a good couple of hours to fly from where I was to Perth.
Oh, I'm sure the airplane took off and, did a few laps around in the sky and then landed back down nearby in the close city of Perth. So, yeah, I'm sure that probably happened.
But why would they do that?
Well, they have to keep up the ruse. Otherwise, people may find out that Australia doesn't exist.
But, wouldn't I be able to feel the tilt of the airplane going around in a circle?
I mean, maybe you got something wrong with your inner ear and you're not able to notice the tilt, or maybe they did it really gradual and it was so small you just couldn't even pick it up. But there's no telling.
But wouldn't the shallower the tilt mean that it'd have to go in a larger circle? I
mean, I guess.
Yeah. So.
All that means is they did a bigger circle. Sure, why not?
Yeah. So, but if it's a bigger circle of 1,000-kilometer radius, why not just go over? Why would they do that? That doesn't make any sense.
Well, the political elite definitely don't want you to find out that Australia doesn't exist.
But why? What would their argument be as to why it wouldn't exist?
Oh, why are they hiding the fact that Australia doesn't exist?
Yeah.
Because then they would have to admit that the British Empire didn't just kill a couple 100,000 people back when they apparently dropped them all off on this random big island out in the middle of nowhere. And then all of these crazy animals that you guys have, all those crazy animals, they're all just science experiments gone wrong that they just keep releasing out on these small islands that you guys live on. So they would have to give away way too many secrets with the crazy experiments and whatnot that they've been doing.
But why would they do that? Why would they cover up a 200-year-old massacre?
I mean, think about all the money that Australia gets. Think about all the money that your government generates and all that. It's not real. It's all being funneled back to the Cabal Empire. Can you go ahead and show my screen for me?
I can do that.
Because I feel like a lot of people don't understand exactly what's going on here, and I want to go ahead and break it down for you. All right, this is an old map of the flat Earth. I'm gonna. No. There's no spherical Earth. Come on, please. Don't be ridiculous. Let's stay focused. Come on. So this is a real map of the Earth here. It is laid out flat. You see there in that middle tiny ring, that's actually where we are right now. That big white stuff that's around that is the ice wall known as Antarctica. You may know it as a continent. Antarctica doesn't exist. Stretches all the way around the flat Earth body there, and it is manned by soldiers that belong to the Satanist organization that is commonly referred to as NASA. They keep people from knowing the truth, and if you get too close to that ice wall, you will be killed on sight. Your body will be hidden, and you will just be another lost explorer. Paid actors. They're lying. Yeah, they're lying. There's no way that they've been there. It's impossible because they would have been shot on sight. But absolutely, they would have been. They would have been killed because NASA does not want you finding out that it's just one giant ice wall. Where do you think George R. R. Martin got his idea for the ice wall in Game of Thrones? It's just Antarctica. That's all that is. But the reason they do that is because if you see that landmass beyond, that's where the rest of the Earth is. There is more islands out there that are, just as big as other countries, and the political elite, the Cabal Empire that have direct communication with the Elf overlords. They have all the technology, they have all the medicine, all of the grand things that we've ever imagined. They have it and more, and they're keeping it for themselves. Anytime that we get any kind of technology leap or any kind of like new innovation or new medical equipment or anything like that. All that is their leftovers that they're just throwing to us just to see how we'll react to it. We're just a social and science experiment for them. And we just basically funnel them money and people. Anytime you hear about a kidnapping or whatever, it's all just people that they've stolen, kidnapped, and used in their satanic rituals that they've got there.
Okay, that's really, really weird to hear that.
It is weird that they would do that, but it is what they do.
So out of curiosity, with the whole ice, oh gosh, excuse me, I'm going to cough. So, so out of curiosity, you're talking about how NASA is all, satanic and stuff.
Satanic, yes.
Why would they be satanic? Why would they be like that?
That's just the way it's been foretold. It's not Satan like biblical, like him. It's just the evil force that drives the hearts of men to do awful things. There are these extra-dimensional elves that the Cabal elite, they do DMT and they can communicate with the elves telepathically. They have meetings with these extra-dimensional beings, and every so often they're given gifts of knowledge and power, and it's how they were able to rise above the rest of us here, and that we were trapped inside the ice wall. But yeah, it's a crazy set of circumstances that they've been doing this for hundreds and hundreds of years, keeping us down and keeping us basically as slaves.
Okay. So you're saying that beyond that ice wall, you've got a whole group of people, sort of a whole
massive advanced civilizations, flying cars, teleportation, instant healing, cloning, all that stuff is it's already been done. It's old school for them.
Okay. So this, and why would they not help us out? We're currently going through a pandemic.
Think about the pandemic was created by them. COVID-19 is a virus that they released on us so that they could study us and how we deal with this socially and physically, basically.
No, I bet they were probably surprised about what's happening.
Oh, I don't think so. I mean, just look through history. They're definitely they've definitely done stuff like this before. The Black Plague, influenza. That's all them.
Okay.
They're just constantly playing with us about every 100 years. It's not a coincidence that it's every 100 years almost to the year.
Okay. Somebody asked a very good question. Has no one considered beyond the ice wall is Australia?
Holy shit.
Maybe
Who said that?
Jen Aldrich.
No. Jen's a little shady. I don't know if I can trust Jen right now. I'm getting fed vibes from Jen right now. Jen, do you support NASA, Jen? That's a question I'm going to need answered.
That's a good question,
before we continue forward. I'm sorry.
Okay.
But you were going to ask me a question. What were you going to ask me?
Oh, that was the question I was going to ask. Have you considered?
I thought there was something else. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. So you're saying that outside this wall, a whole heap of people trying to deny the truth. But how does that relate back to Australia? By the way, I just kind of missed that bit.
Oh, well, see, Australia is one of the main testing grounds back in the original, those the 200,000 people that disappeared. Yeah, they weren't sent to Australia. They were yanked out and started experiments on them, and they have to have these bodies in their blood rituals that they partake in their satanic happenings that they do to fuel their communications with the space elves.
Okay, all right. So what's your evidence for that? Because I'm not believing anything you say right now, of course, because, for me, this sounds crazy.
It would take us all night. I mean, I'm sure it would sound crazy to somebody who thinks that they live on Australia. But what does sound crazy, let's talk about what's really crazy for a minute here. Look at this.
That's a kangaroo. Yes.
What is that?
That's a kangaroo.
Kangaroo? That doesn't even make any sense. That word doesn't even make any sense. How would you look at this and think to yourself, kangaroo? Like, if you look at an elephant, of course, it looks like an elephant. Like, you would look at a cat and go, cat. That makes sense. You look at this monstrosity here with its big, doughy ears and giant legs, and it's got a growth in its stomach there. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, I'm not following how anybody would even buy that. Like, if you just saw that doesn't make any sense how that would just happen naturally. Of course, it is evidence. Yeah, it is evidence that this is a manufactured animal.
Well, the word kangaroo comes from the indigenous language. So it means kangaroo in indigenous Australian language.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And then they just kind of forgot to color this one, and they just released it and made it white, like we wouldn't notice. Like, it doesn't even make any sense. Why would they do that? They're getting sloppy. This is how you know that the truth will eventually be told, that these people are gonna mess up and the truth is coming out. I'm here to bring you the truth, and that's all I'm trying to do, okay? But and then hold on, we got some other crazy animals. Look at this. Drop bear. Look at this drop bear.
No, that's a koala. That's just an angry koala.
That's a monster. That's a monster.
Yeah. No, that's a pretty scary koala. It's an angry, wet koala, and it's pretty scary.
It's a drop bear, and he'll attack you on sight. You can't even walk under him. And they're trained to attack people by the political elite. That's why they were created by these people.
But why would they? Why would they do that?
To keep you living in constant fear. If you've got time to sit around and be safe, then you've got time to think about how the earth is flat and that you don't really exist on a continent called Australia. If you're running for your life from kangaroos and drop bears, then you don't have time to sit and think and philosophy this shit out so that that what I'm telling you is true.
Yeah. Okay. So let's say what you're saying is true. How would it make any sense anyway? Like, come on, we've got to argue the fact that all of these grand conspiracies, I mean, by now, like, the bigger the conspiracy, the faster it falls. And, you'd have at least 4 or 5 people coming out going, this is what's happening, and speaking out about it.
Yeah, anytime anybody comes out, they're going to be silenced. Like, I'm surprised if this stream is still even up. I keep expecting it to be taken down.
Yeah, no,
because they're definitely out there watching. Like, that's why I'm afraid, like, Jen the Fed, like, all Jen would have to do is report us, and they would take it down.
Well, I hope Jen the Fed doesn't do it. Yeah, so as I said, I don't agree with your assertions that Australia doesn't exist, because, I can show you a native Australian animal, which is very, very similar to other.
Oh God, you keep those mutations inside with you?
Yeah, I do, but, it's no different to. Come on out. It's not much different to, other mutations from other parts of the world. This is a snake. Yeah, so
that's a beautiful created specimen.
But it's no different to the other uncreated specimens. Like, look at it. It looks like you've seen snakes. Oh,
well, sure. You've taken a regular snake and brought it to your small island there, or somebody else did, I'm sure. dropped off some real. Of course, they've got to mix some real animals in, or else you'll just always know that all of your animals are ridiculous.
Well, some of them are ridiculous, but they're not created. Like the platypus, for example.
Speaking of ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't know how to go back to my screen. Can you pull it back up for me?
I can. Oh. Hang on. Yeah.
Let's talk about this. Let's talk about how you guys have an entire city underground. That doesn't make any sense. You got people out there digging holes and just that's how much you guys are burying your heads in the sand on this topic, is that you had to bury and live underneath the ground to hide from the fact that Australia doesn't exist.
Well, it's underground for multiple reasons. That is out in the middle of the desert, and the desert gets very, very hot during the day and very, very cold during the night. So, being underground makes sense because the earth insulates the whole city.
Right. So, like, the truth is so fire that you have to hide from it. I get it.
No. It just makes more sense. I mean, you'd be the same out in the middle of nowhere in the desert or something. And it's Cooper Pedy. I'd like to go there one day.
I'm sure you would like to go bury your head in the sand as you are doing right now on the stream. It's so ridiculous. I can't believe you. See, this is the contention that Navardia and I have had to deal with in our constant friendship here. I love her to death. She's an awesome person, a great content creator, really intelligent. And it's so disappointing that a brilliant mind is being wasted on the lies that she is perpetuating here. Not of her own volition. I understand she's been fooled, and I don't blame her.
But you're saying I'm being indoctrinated?
Absolutely, you are.
What's that?
All right. So now my other point here is this blood water. See all the blood of the people that have been sacrificed through the years keeps washing back up every so often to remind you of the evil atrocities that have been committed.
Is that Lake Hellier or Hellier or something like that? Is that the pink lake?
It looks blood red to me because it's definitely blood.
You can change the color of but you're talking about the
we just throw some Kool-Aid packets in there and just call it a day.
No. Well, that's stuff. I know that stuff. That's a halobacteria that produces beta carotenes to make the bright pink.
Bacteria. That's definitely blood. Look at that. It's blood red.
It's bright pink.
It's from all the people that they kill in their satanic rituals, and they come and dump them back into the water, and the blood seeps out. And they do this about once a year, and that's why you guys have this massive red rush of blood water coming in every so often.
But why only that lake? I mean, I've been to pink lakes out near Melbourne, and they're absolutely beautiful. And that pink color is made by a halobacteria that produces beta carotenes, which is why it's got the pink color. Beta carotenes can be from orange to pinks to reds, that's why it produces that beautiful pink color. And why only these lakes? Why aren't we seeing it in like our water supply? Like, why is it that once a year I don't turn on my tap and I see bright red water coming out of the tap?
Well, does all your tap water come from the blood lakes that the Cabal Empire dumps their bodies in?
I would hope not.
Well, there you go. That's why you're not getting blood water when you turn your tap on. Let me ask you about these proteins here. You keep calling them beta, or where's all the alpha proteins? Like, where are they hanging out? Are they just being much cooler than the beta ones?
No, they're that's just the it's not a protein. It's a chemical. Beta carotenes is just a chemical, not a protein. So
I don't know.
So it depends on how it's like the shape of the actual chemical itself, like the molecule itself. That's why they call it beta carotene, not alpha. It's not in the alpha position, but beta position. Yeah.
I really haven't seen a lot of like evidence for for you wanting to try to convince me that the number one, that Australia exists, or even that the Earth isn't flat. Like, I'm just.
Well, let's have a look at the evidence. You've got tens of thousands of airplane flyers all over the world. You've got. I've been on a boat and I've actually got a piece of paper and put it up against the window, and I've actually seen the horizon go above and below the paper.
That's the way the glass is curved there. I've seen this before in like airplanes when they look at the curve of the Earth, but you see that same curve when you're landed and you like take a picture out your window on the tarmac. It curves there at the end because that's the way the glass is shaped.
Okay, well, I've also done that while I was outside, and I used the flat part.
Yeah, but you wear glasses, right? So it's going to curve.
That was before the glasses.
Before the glasses, so while you were blind and you couldn't see very well, now you're trying to judge.
No, my eyesight has deteriorated since then. I didn't need glasses by then. At that point, so
a likely story.
What was that?
Is that a likely story?
But
you just got an answer for everything tonight, don't you?
Oh, yeah, I do. Science bitches.
Science bitches.
Yeah.
All right, I'm kind of coming around to your science here. You got anything else for me?
Well, the fact that, there's 24 million people, talking about being around and being Australian. You've got people trying to get into Australia. Emigrating from Australia, so I've met people from other countries coming here. There's been a lot of people, and you would have thought by now someone like a much larger group of people that have a lot more evidence to suggest that Australia does exist or does not exist. Sorry,
I will admit that is a lot of people you have to pay to keep quiet.
It is a lot of people, and like how is NASA going to be able to pay all of these people to explain that Australia doesn't exist? I mean, that's millions and millions of people worldwide that you'd have to pay. Like, what's NASA's budget?
It's infinite because they just take all the money. I mean, all the money goes to NASA in the end.
Yeah, but
taxes are fine.
I've never received a bank statement from NASA.
Well, see, that's why I think that they pay a certain amount of people to convince other people, and you just happen to be one of the unfortunate convinced ones that could be brought to light because you're not bought and paid for.
Okay.
But you unfortunately believe this weird conspiracy theory that Australia exists.
All right, so give me your last bit, like your strongest evidence that Australia does not exist.
I mean, honestly, like, if you look at the fake globe, and it's a ball, and if America's up here, like it should be on top, above everybody else, because it's perfect, and then Australia's down here. If the Earth was flat, that would mean Australia would be underneath, and that just would never work. You'd fall right off. You'd be upside down.
That's a good point.
They've made a really cool TV show about the upside down, but I don't think that you're in it.
Actually, that's a really good point. I never thought of that.
I mean, look at your camera. Your camera's right side up, and I'm right side up. If you were in Australia right now, your camera would be upside down.
Wow, I never thought of that. Jesus. You might be right.
I feel like I am.
I think I haven't
found anybody who can really challenge that piece of evidence. So I saved it for the end.
Oh my god, I think you're... Holy crap.
You witnessed it here live, folks. Narvardia came around and is realizing the truth. I'll be honest, I haven't been looking at the comments because I was too worried I'd laugh. Do people really think that I think that the Earth is flat?
Oh, all right. Okay, Wolf, would you like to explain why we're having this conversation?
So, Navardi and I were DMing a couple weeks ago, and she's like, "Hey, you're the guy who infiltrated the flat Earth a couple years ago, right?" And I'm just sitting here like scratching my head, going, yes. What did you hear? Who did you hear that from?" But I've told this story once or twice. I know I told it once on a podcast with Ocean a couple years back, and I know for a fact that video is private, and so you can't find it anymore. But I believe that Navardia was in the live chat with us that night, and I told the story about how about 3 years ago, I hurt my hand really bad at work, and so I basically had about 3 months of just go to work, sit on my butt, and get paid while I healed up. And they told me, just play on your phone, just don't do anything to hurt your hand again. So I had a lot of free time to just sit and stare at a wall. And I stumbled across, and this is around the time, 2017, this is around the time right before that dude started building that rocket, who, bless him, ended up killing himself not too long ago, trying to launch. That was sad, actually. Very, very sad. And I feel awful for him because he really was trying to like prove to everybody things that just were ridiculous. But I came onto the scene a little bit before he actually got popular. I stumbled into a couple Facebook groups that, one had like 8,000 members, one had like maybe 10,000 members, and one had like 27,000 members. And I devoted a lot of time to that one because I was one voice of many, and I felt like I could really blend in really well and figure out what these people were talking about. I wanted to really understand like why people thought the way they did. I really wanted to like just understand what causes them to get to that point, why they want to believe in conspiracy theories so deeply. And it was really just like a psychological experiment for me to dive into this. And I got frustrated because they were making awful arguments while trying to get to their point. They had a point and they couldn't close that gap. And I was like, well, actually, if you made your argument like this a little bit better, that would be way more convincing. Like, if this is your point, this is what you need to say to get there to close that gap with other people and make them take you seriously. And they're like, oh, wow, you're a lot better at this than we are. You must be a devoted flat earther. And I was like, yes, I am, of course. That's why I'm here. It's because I definitely believe everything that you're saying. And I'm just glad to be included. And I did a lot of that. And eventually people started like listening to what I had to say, which was terrifying. And I started getting like group admins messaging me, asking me for advice on how to present their arguments better and stuff like that. And then I was made an admin of the group for a little while, and I was kind of making decisions in this giant flat Earth community, and people were like taking me way too seriously. And I just had free time, and I figured why not? Let's roll with it. Let's have fun. And so people would come in the group and call us crazy, and I'd chase them away with facts and logic about the flat Earth. But where it really got super crazy was somebody posted a video of Jim Carrey at a red carpet event. I guess he like wasn't invited, or he was, but people didn't think he would show up. And when he got there, this is around the time like Jim Carrey started to become super woke about like politics in Hollywood and stuff like that. And he was saying that he was making a reference to the fact that Hollywood in general is just fake. like everybody's just doing it for themselves, and that it's not real, and it's all just put on a show, and none of it matters, and there are secrets out there. Like he used some really weird language, but he was just really trying to shit on Hollywood. Well, some crazy flat earthers were like, oh, he's trying to tell us the truth about flat earth. He knows. He's woken up, and now they're going to try to get rid of him. And I, of course, encouraged the hell out of that theory and said, absolutely, yes, Jim Carrey is the voice that we need. He's the key. We must put Jim Carrey on a pedestal. And he is our savior that will lead us to the promised land beyond the ice wall. And so in my free time, I did a bunch of Googling, and I was able to track down the phone number. No, I believe it was an email address for his agent at the time. Or maybe it was his, there were multiple steps, but I eventually got in contact with somebody who was supposed to be in line of representing Jim Carrey and dealing with contacting him. And I told them that I was a radio station in the local area and wanted to help promote Jim Carrey's new movie that he was doing or wanted to do. He was propped up to do a project at the time, and I really don't remember. I'll have to Google what he was doing in 2017. But, or he had just done something in 2016. Maybe that's what it was. But I guess they were desperate for some attention, because after that red carpet event, he was kind of like shunned a little bit. People were like, oh, this guy's unhinged. We don't want to like interview him. And so they were like, oh yeah, sure. Just get us some contact information and we'll get in touch with you. Like, we need your credentials to make sure this is legit. And, it was about that time that my hand healed up and I went back to work full time, and I was working a lot of hours. And also I realized I was a little in over my head. And also some of these flat earth people started like getting in touch with my friends in real life. They started like searching, clicking through profiles and whatnot on Facebook to get to my friends, and started bothering them. And so all of that happened all around in the same like 3 or 4 day period. And I was like, all right, I'm pulling the plug. I'm getting the fuck out of here. I just left everything. I didn't say a word. I didn't tell him I died. I didn't tell him anything. I pulled all the plugs at the same time, and I never responded to anybody ever again. But it's really funny because Ocean was around the time. Ocean and I didn't know each other then. This was about a year before he and I met, or maybe it was about 6 months before he and I met, somewhere around there. But he was doing the same thing in the same circles, and I heard of him under this name, and he heard of me over here under this name, but we never bumped into each other doing this thing. But it's just one more time that he and I were like doing the same thing at the same time, and we didn't know it. And so that was my adventure into the flat earth community, kind of taking over, almost getting in touch with Jim Carrey and propping him up as a flat earth savior. And why I know so many stupid flat earth arguments and can argue them kind of well. It's because of what I used to do in my spare time for about 3 months.
Oh, it's a beautiful, beautiful story. All right.
Yeah. It's something.
So anyway, that was actually quite a lot of fun. I really enjoyed listening to these insane arguments.
I know, right?
Yeah. I'd never had the Elven one.
That's not even really half of them. Like, that's not even close to half of them.
Oh gosh, that was cool.
They're awful.
Yeah. Yeah, just I'm impressed. I'm honestly impressed. So thank you, Wolf, for coming on. Sorry about the mix-up. I did not realize that.
Oh, no, great. We had a good time.
Yeah, no, I didn't realize I had to press another button.
Button pressing is so overrated. It doesn't do it.
Yeah, it just doesn't do it for me. I'm still getting the hang of OBS. I very rarely stream, so yeah, this is a weird thing for me.
I hear you.
If anybody has any questions for Wolf, please put them in the side chat.
I'm good to hang out for a minute. I'd love to hear if anybody has any questions, because I unfortunately do know a lot about the flat Earth. There are weird conspiracy theories that they have, and why they say that they do.
I do actually have a question. Why? Why?
So there's two sides to this coin. On the psychological side, everybody wants to feel like they're special. Everybody wants to feel like they know something that nobody else knows. And a conspiracy is something that a lot of, especially unfortunately, mentally ill people, they latch on to it because their brains are trying to search for something that makes them feel special. And I don't know a ton of information on it. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a therapist. But from what I've read up on it while I was doing this was like the main contributor, is that they want to know something that nobody else knows. And they want to be the ones to spread it. They want to feel like they did something, like they made an impact. And so the attention that they get, although negative attention is always good attention. It's better than no attention at all. And so they feel that feeds into that chemical in their brain there. The other side of that is, why flat Earth? There are like weird things that happen in the world, and they bend reality to try to make it fit into this. And so like, not very many people have been to Antarctica. Why? Well, it's because it's an ice wall. That's fucking stupid. It's because it's cold and it's expensive to go there, and it's dangerous and people die. That's why people don't go to Australia. But it sounds cooler to say, no, it's because NASA. Well, why NASA? Probably because they're Satanists, because everything has to tie back to Christian religion somehow. And it's just, you go down these rabbit holes like this too often, and you can piece together something like the script that I rambled off to you, and eventually you just, that's the key, and they just repeat it over and over again.
Mm. Yeah, well, it was interesting that you brought up Christianity, because just when you said that, Randolph Richardson said, how many flat earthers are Christians? I ask because many flat earthers seem to refer to a part of the Holy Bible that talks about seeing the whole earth. So.
Yeah, because also the Bible brings up the firmament that is over the earth, the dome. That was another thing I didn't bring up, and it's like that's my most common joke that I make, is that the moon isn't real, it's a projection on the dome. I say that constantly as a joke. Like, it's probably my favorite flat earth joke. And that the moon is just this giant projection. It's not even like physical. It's not real. It's just projected onto the dome. The dome is like 6,000 miles high or something crazy like that. Or I don't even remember the exact number, but it's so many miles high, and there's an actual ball of sun, but it's tiny compared to what they think, what we think. See, I slipped into the flat earth persona there. Started saying they. We say that the sun is massive out in space, but it's actually tiny, and it floats up in the dome near the roof there. And it just makes a circle like this instead of us rotating it.
Right. Yeah. So it's a fun little conspiracy theory. Is there any other questions that anybody has? Alias Fake Name says, we all know the moon was dug out of the Grand Canyon by giants. That was a good one. What's your, apart from the moon one, what is your favorite, or what is the one that you consider to be the most wacky?
The most wacky thing is the whole DMT and elves thing. That's actually an Alex Jones edition from a few years back. Is that and this is kind of documented a little bit when groups of people get together and do. I want to say it's ayahuasca. It's the Amazonian crazy drug that people can do.
Yeah, that's ayahuasca.
Yeah. They will trip and have the same trip. You can get like 30 people together and they will all have the same trip. And it has been documented when the group tests are done that they meet these other, what they claim is they meet these other beings and they grant them, visions of whatever, like, the future or knowledge beyond comprehension and all this other crazy stuff. And so Alex Jones ran with this theory that it's extra-dimensional elves, what we consider aliens, and they are the ones giving us technology a little bit at a time throughout history. It's why the Mayans had what they had. It's why the Egyptians were able to build the pyramids. It's just all throughout time. Like Atlantis, where did Atlantis go? The elves came and took the Atlanteans away or whatever. It's just super crazy, ridiculous stuff. But when you mention extra dimensional elves and DMT, that's how the political elite rose to power. And that's easily the most fucking insane thing I've ever heard.
But
beautiful. It's what some people believe. I know, right?
I love it. So how Dog Botherer says, Wolf the Red, how do you debunk gravity in your comedy way?
Debunk gravity. I try not to because I actually don't understand that argument at all. It doesn't make a lot of sense other than whatever the flat Earth is doing, like if it's moving through space at whatever space is beyond the dome. The only thing that I've ever heard that makes sense is that the disk is moving up really fast, and that creates the artificial gravity that we experience, but gravity isn't real. Which, at that point, who's to say it's not real because it's artificial gravity? I don't know. I stay away from the gravity bit because I'm not smart enough to prove it. Yes, that gravity is real, and I'm not dumb enough to disprove that gravity is not real. So I just stay away from it.
Fair enough. All right. Well, I'm glad that I saw it when we broke character. I saw a couple of people go, "Wait, this was a joke."
Oh, no.
Yeah, so we got a couple of people going, I got a few people going, "What? I just can't do this. This is ridiculous." And we finally broke character.
Yeah, so it's ridiculous.
We fooled a few, so high five.
High five, girl. You're awesome.
Well, anyway, I just want to say thank you so much to everyone for joining. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I definitely had a good time learning about those ridiculous arguments. So where can we find you?
Please follow me at Wolf the Red on Twitter. That is where I currently am worrying about my country burning down around me and the things I can do to prevent that. But I usually am tweeting about polytheism in a casual way. I don't shove it down your throat. A lot of atheists say that they get a lot out of the things that I have to say. I'm a very chill and even-mannered person. So if you don't follow me, come and hang out. I'm also extremely ridiculous. I post a lot of funny things. I want to say I got you earlier this week with the Caribbean joke that I made.
That was a good one.
I was so fucking proud of that.
That was actually... yes, no, if you want some good dad jokes, definitely need to follow Wolf. And you've got a channel yourself?
Yeah, YouTube channel. Heathen Dad is the name of the YouTube channel. But I've got one video out, and I'm about to release my second video tomorrow. I'm really hyped about it. And so I dive into concepts of polytheism and I try to break them down in a way that even atheists can maybe get a little something out of it, in a way that isn't. If you've never heard a polytheist talk about stuff before, I think I present it in a way that is digestible.
Yeah, and it's always good to be able to get an idea of other religions and worldviews and things like that, being, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Narvati and I are pretty good friends, and I've got some other atheist friends as well. And my whole MO is build bridges, make connections, try to figure out how we can work together, because we all agree on at least one thing, and that's fight against harm. And there are harmful religious structures out there, and I'm against them just as much as the next atheist would be. So we can definitely all get along in that respect.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's common goals. You win, you catch more flies with honey than vinegar. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. And also amazing conversations like this can happen as well.
I know, right?
So links to Wolf's channel is in the description below. And I would like, so yeah, everyone don't forget to like, share and subscribe this to me, this video. I just very recently got the hours needed to be monetized, so I'm just waiting. Yay! So I'm just waiting for YouTube to review my channel to find out if I am actually monetizable, which, hopefully they'll go, yep, sure, go for it, hopefully.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think Pete, gonna go for it, says, I'm actually disappointed by the lack of scientism. I gave it a thumbs up, which you will show as a thumbs down.
That's funny.
All right. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for joining. And don't forget, don't give yourself the real prawn.
Go big or go home.